Hey everybody, welcome back to Film Don't Lie University. I'm Chris Harris, he's Brett Kollmann, and we're here to try and make you better football fans and help you know whether you're seeing something that's legit or maybe something that's a little bit fraudulent when you're watching football on Sunday. Today's topic is cutting ability in running backs, and there are times where, I don't know about you, Brett, but sometimes I feel like we hear that running back X has great cutting ability, and look at the big plays he's made, and that's made him a fantasy superstar. And yet, oftentimes, the film does not bear that out.
Yeah, film does not lie. The eye in the sky does not lie, as they say. And usually, if you hear somebody is a up-and-coming superstar, you really got to go back and watch the tape yourself so that you can evaluate whether or not it's just a hype train or if they're the real deal. So we're going to start doing that today by first looking at Kenyan Drake. He's an upcoming running back with the Miami Dolphins, and this series is really about helping you identify the Kenyan Drakes of the world, the guys that have the physical talent to maybe take that next step in the league. So let's first start out by looking at this play from last year against the Broncos, and it's a fantastic example of his one-cut ability in the hole. And when we talk about the fundamentals of a cut, we're going to talk about the stop foot and the go foot. And the two elements of a cut are landing on the stop foot to, as you would say, stop your momentum. And when you can stop your momentum in one single step, you can kind of load the entire momentum and all the energy that you're bringing forward, load that energy, and then transfer it to the go foot and explode in a different direction. So a cut isn't necessarily just about changing direction. It's about storing energy and releasing that energy in a new direction so that you can get out of the cut cleanly and quickly and shake two guys in the hole just like Kenyan Drake is doing here. And again, you can see
Brandon
that.
Marshall.
Brandon Marshall. He's setting up in the hole, landing on the stop foot, loading all that energy, opening up his hips on the go foot, and you can see him kind of flex that toe out there so that he can change directions and then explodes off that go foot in one step, clears two defenders in the hole, and gets a nice 8-yard gain out of it. So he went from taking a tackle for loss to getting an 8-yard gain just from that one singular cut. And this is one of the best examples you're going to see of the mechanics of a cut and what we look for in a running back. And this was a play, taking it one step further.
Yeah. So have it in your mind. I just want to sort of emphasize on that Drake play. Have in your mind, stop foot, go foot. When you're trying to evaluate whether a running back has this cutting ability thing that we hope is important for the purposes of knowing whether he's a good player, whether he might be good for fantasy football, for example, stop foot, go foot. And the point's going to be, honestly, through the course of today's video, this is maybe even less about showing you what a good cut looks like. I think most people who've been watching football for all these years knows, oh, that was a pretty good cut. He made guys fall down. He made guys miss. But later in this video, we're going to show you guys who don't really have that. We're going to show you what it looks like when guys don't have that ability. Let's move on to this Doug Martin play, though. This was, I think, his first carry of 2017 because he was suspended. This is week 5 against the Patriots. And I picked out this play. You and I really like Doug Martin. But I picked out this play because it's sort of a subtle example. It's something that actually, as you're watching during the game, this was a Monday Night Football game, you might actually have missed. And so Martin makes Lawrence Guy, winds up making him look a little bit silly in the hole. But it's stop foot, go foot. Stop foot, go foot. You've nailed exactly what we're looking for. It's that he kind of gets around the offensive lineman, sees that there's a crease. Lawrence Guy's standing right there. You know what? I'm not going to be able to get around him, so I have to be able to stop and then go. And Guy can't get the tackle. And Doug Martin has lots of other problems in life, but being able to cut is not one of them, or at least it wasn't through the beginning of last season.
Yeah, it just emphasizes that if you can, it's all about the transfer of energy. If you can contain that energy in the stop foot and then release it efficiently in the go foot, you can preserve your momentum on the cut. And because he's able to preserve his momentum, he's able to clear those pursuit angles and, again, get another 8-yard gain where he probably should have gotten a lot less. So that's the difference that a good cut can make in terms of efficiency in production. Now, in terms of the difference between maybe a one-step cut in a zone system and a jump cut, that's what we think of classically as a really good cut, is these flashy, big, dramatic jump cuts. And yeah, we'll quickly go through Devonta Freeman because he's probably one of the best examples of what a good jump cut looks like because he's super explosive. And this was actually from 2016 against the Saints. And you can see him put both feet in the ground. They're very even. He doesn't have that lead foot too far ahead. And he's able to contain the energy in the outside foot, explode off the go foot, and then burn those pursuit angles, get a little nice get off me stiff arm in the end. But really what we like is that jump cut because he's able to plant, explode, and get outside. And, again, that's an easy thing to see. It's easy to see a very dramatic jump cut, just like it's very easy to see a dramatic dead leg cut, which we see all the time with Le'Veon Bell. Why don't you quickly take us through that? Because, again, this is a very classic example of what we look for and what we know how to identify on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, again, I don't need to show you too many, wow, that's a good cut. Guess what? Le'Veon Bell's really good. But this is a dead leg where he gets through to the second level. There's a nice hole there. And there's a safety coming up to get him. He puts the leg out, essentially saying, why don't you tackle over here? And the safety, Ed Reynolds, who no longer is on Cleveland, carries his momentum too far. And Bell is able to sort of give him that head fake, and he's gone. You said it right. Like, I think we're showing these cuts because in a minute we're going to show you guys who don't do this in situations where maybe they should have. And that is a huge red flag and an identifier that indicates, you know what, maybe he's not for real after all. Hey, just a moment to say we're sponsored today by Taft, makers of shoes that are absolutely beautiful, utterly unique. Can't find anything like them anywhere else. Some guys just love shoes, and for those people, Brett, let's talk about Taft.
Yeah, I mean, they have nearly 400,000 Instagram followers for a reason. Shoe guys love them for crazy materials and funky patterns and color combinations. I mean, you really are not going to find these shoes anywhere else.
Absolutely. And in a brick and mortar store, these shoes would cost $500 or $600, but online, Taft can sell them for half that. I have Taft shoes. They are gorgeous. And right now, we can get you $20 off your first pair when you click the link below and enter FDLU at checkout for Film Don't Lie University. That's $20 off your first pair. Click that link below, enter FDLU at checkout, and thanks to Taft for sponsoring. All right, let's get back into it. We just a second ago saw Le'Veon Bell give the dead leg, a very effective move in the open field. Sometimes Lamar Miller gets in the open field, supposed to have sprinter speed. You know what? We don't see him cut all that well. Let's take a look at an example where we think Lamar Miller probably should have been able to cut in the open field and kind of just flumphed and didn't last year. Against Jacksonville, it's late in the game and it's a blowout and maybe the motivation isn't there or something. I don't know, but you should be able to get away from that cut. Give him the dead leg. Do something. That tackle is breakable in the open field for a good back. Don't you agree, Brett?
Yeah, it's the difference between I don't want to say a pretender and a contender, but it's the difference between a good dead leg cut and just kind of a flop. If this was Le'Veon Bell or maybe just somebody with a good dead leg, they'd be able to shoot that stop leg out, really explode off of it, open that hip. I mean, he got 15 yards on either side of Tayshaun Gibson here. Like, there's no excuse for not breaking this tackle. But on this cut, he's basically just taking an extended step outside. It's not really a cut. It's just, let me give you a little nod and shake. And again, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for somebody who can actually break a tackle with lateral quickness. And unfortunately, Lamar Miller, I'm saying this as a Texans fan, Lamar Miller's not really that kind of back.
Earlier, you talked about Devonta Freeman's jump cut. And I really love that, independent of me, a noted Alex Collins doubter, you picked Alex Collins as an example of somebody who probably should have jump cut and flat out didn't. And for me, this kind of play that you're about to show was part of why I had the big doubts about him last year and also feel doubtful for him this year. So explain why he should have jump cut here and why he can't.
I think he might have tried to, but I don't think he has the physical ability to. And we think back to that Devonta Freeman play where when he's going in and he's deciding, okay, I'm going to jump cut outside, and his feet were even, you can see that that Collins doesn't have the lower body strength or explosiveness to really stop his momentum in one step on that stop foot. In this case, that's his right foot. So because he can't completely stop his momentum and load up all that energy, his go foot kind of falls a little bit in front of his stop foot. And if your go foot is in front of your stop foot, that means you're not able to fully open your hips outside and really get a sharp cut when you're bouncing. Because in a lot of jump cuts, you're almost bouncing backwards a little bit so that you can bubble around the edge. But because his lead foot is so far in front of him, he can't really cut sharply. So he's running straight to the back of his blocker, and eventually he gets brought down for a 2-yard loss because of that. And it just goes to show, football's a game of inches. And there's literally a difference in maybe 6 or 7 inches in where that go foot is planted between a guy like Alex Collins and a guy like Devonta Freeman, and that makes all the difference in the world in terms of the sharpness of a cut and whether or not you're getting 10 yards on a run or 2 yards on a run. It's a very minute difference, but it matters a lot.
Yeah, stop foot, go foot, red light, green light. We all played it when we were kids. 100%. Let's beat up on Rob Kelly just to wrap this up. Just sort of an example of someone else that we watch. If people wonder, like on my podcast or on Brett's YouTube channel, like if people wonder, well, why do you suddenly decide you don't like a player? What do you see that makes you think the production is fake or that it won't recur from year to year? Then you watch Rob Kelly on film.
Yeah. That's when you understand. That's when you see something, they say a lot of meat left on the bone. That's when you see something where it's like, oh, that should have been a 20-yard run, but it was 5. It's almost inflated production. Why don't you take us through this Rob Kelly play from start to finish, because I know you like beating up on him just as much as I do.
Poor Rob Kelly. Yeah, it's just, he's got the option to cut really either direction. Just do something, my friend. And he tries to give the stop foot and he doesn't stop. And then he tries to do the go foot and he doesn't really go, and yet still kind of makes something out of it. It's pretty good blocking, right? So he kind of makes something out of it, but Mark Barron kind of laughs at him. He just is like, yeah, if you're right here, then that's what I'm trained to do, is that if you're right in front of me and not moving, I'm going to put you on the ground no matter how big you are. And that's going to be just a limitation of a bigger back without lateral agility. Because, you would think Rob Kelly at that size would have the kind of leg strength necessary to stop foot, go foot, but it's pretty clear from watching on film he doesn't.
Yeah, you can see he has the vision to identify that he wants to hit that strong side A gap. He wants to cut off the inside hip of the center that's picking up a linebacker. He just doesn't have the physical ability to get there, which in the end is really all that matters. You can have the best vision in the world, but if you're not athletically gifted enough to make use of that vision, then you're only going to get 5 yards instead of 20. And again, this play right here is why they drafted Derrius Guice, because Derrius Guice is physically gifted enough to hit that gap when he wants to cut it, when he sees it. So, Rob Kelly got 80 yards in this game. It was a good game production-wise, but it kind of signaled that the production wasn't all legitimate, and that if he was a more talented back, he could have got over 100 yards on this week. So just keep an eye out for that when you're looking at running backs on film, even if they have a good statistical day. If there's a lot of yards left on the field, it might be somebody you want to either avoid or just trade away.
And that's the point we're trying to get across with today's video and with this entire series, is that we are teaching a person to fish. We want you to be able to watch football and see what we see. And cutting ability is a huge part of valuing a running back. It's not the only thing running backs do. Rob Kelly could someday be some good team's goal line back, score a bunch of touchdowns, and be valuable. But we're skeptical that he's an all-around back, and we're skeptical that an NFL team, if seeing this kind of production, seeing these kinds of plays, would invest a lot of touches in that player. All right, so we want you to subscribe to The Film Room. That's Brett's YouTube channel. If you're watching on my channel, Harris Football, and if you're watching on Brett's channel, hey, come on over and subscribe to me too. We both produce some pretty good content. I've got this crazy almanac thing that, Brett, officially you're getting a free copy of the almanac. You did good work today, and you're getting a free copy of the almanac. The folks watching, go to harrisfootball.com. It's long and it's got a lot of film stuff in it, but mostly it's jokes. Mostly it's just an excuse to be funny. I think you'll enjoy it. Listen to the podcast at harrisfootball.com as well. Until next time, the professors of Film Don't Lie University say adieu.